Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at something that's not quite film related. It's film adjacent, at least in my perspective, and it is a drawing tablet, drawing pen display tablet. I got this about a month ago. I've been wanting one for a while, and I never pulled the trigger on it just because I didn't think that I would really get a whole lot of use out of it. And it's actually kind of turning out to be a true prophecy in that I haven't really used it a whole lot since I got it. So I might be sending this back. So I might be sending it back, but I thought I would take a look at it just to kind of give you a rundown of what these are and what they could be useful for, aside from obviously just drawing and painting, doing digital art, which is their primary function. I guess graphic design too. So this is the Huion Kamvas Pro 16. It is a 15.6 inch pen tablet display. Here's the pen. And so what do you do with it? You can draw and paint and do graphic design. Basically, it's just a monitor that you can draw on. It's not a touch display, so it doesn't register your fingertips. It only registers the pen tip, and you can retouch photos and everything like that in Photoshop. So let me just talk about this particular model. I'm not going to run down like all the specifications and everything. You can look that up, but this is by a company called Huion, and it's a Chinese brand. And really, like the innovators in like this whole product segment is a company called Wacom, and so they've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. But there's been kind of an influx of not imitators or knockoffs, but other companies offering competing products for a lot cheaper than Wacom. Wacom's products tend to be very expensive. They do make some more entry-level models, but even their entry-level models are much more expensive than Huion. Another competitor is of very similar specs and I think quality is XP Pen, and they all make like very, very similar displays, like all the same sizes, very similar pen technology, similar display technology, and very similar prices too. So they might even be the same, like sourcing their products from all the same places, but just having two different brands. I don't know, but anyway, so these are much cheaper than Wacom's products. Wacom tends to have just better specs, I guess. So they're like most of their high-end line right now is all 4K displays, so Ultra UHD, whereas Huion tops out at 1080p. So this is a 1080p IPS display. So IPS means that it's got pretty accurate colors. It's got about a 1001 contrast ratio, and it has good viewing angles. So when you view it off angle, the display remains accurate color-wise and also in terms of contrast. So one really good thing to mention is that, so these displays, these Chinese brands like Huion and XP Pen have gotten a lot better in the last few years, and there's a couple things that they've really improved on. One is the pen. So in the past they were battery operated, so you'd have to recharge these every so often, but now they've gotten rid of the batteries, so you never have to worry about the pen running low on power and having to recharge it. The pressure sensitivity on these is all really similar. Even Wacom's, I think I just spit, are all pretty similar. So there's really no differentiation between that. I guess really the differentiator would be just how the pen feels. Wacom's also tend to have an eraser on the end, so you can just flip it and then erase, and it'll register that in the program, as opposed to actually having to hit like the eraser key. Yeah, there we go. And then just erasing it with the pen actually. So here's actually an older Wacom pen, and they're really similar, but you can see that this has an eraser that you can just flip. Okay, and the other major way that they've improved recently is in the display itself. So they're called like a laminated or bonded display, which means that the actual like display and the glass itself are like bonded together. Where before there used to be like a thick layer of glass over the top, so whenever you put your pen down, you could see that there was a gap, and then you would have like an inaccuracy between like where you're actually pressing and then what the monitor or the display is registering. So they've gotten rid of that, so it's much smaller where the gap between your pen and the actual cursor is on the screen. So those are like the two major improvements that they've made, and made them, a lot more competitive with Wacom. So those are really kind of the major specs. In terms of like its interface, so it has this one USB-C cable here that just breaks out into an HDMI a power cable, and then a USB on the back. So you're going to need an HDMI out on your graphics card or your CPU, and then you're going to need a free USB 2.0, and then a power connector. In addition to things that come in the box, you got the pen holder, and the pen holder comes with 10 extra nibs, so when they wear out, you got 10, so you should be pretty good for a long ass time with that. And then it comes with a stand, the monitor stand. There is a version of this that doesn't come with it, but I think the price of this one has come down a lot, or like at least by 50 or 100 bucks from when it launched. So definitely recommend getting the stand because there's no vase mount on here. So I believe that there are some like third-party stands that you could buy, but this works pretty well. It's pretty simple. It just folds flat, and then you can either pop out, depending on the angle that you want, these two pieces, and then there are actually different notches here on the back depending on how steep the angle you want it to be. And it's got rubber. Oh, the actual bottom. Oh yeah, it does. These four corners. Oh, you can see all the cat hair. Ignore that. It's got some rubber grips on the bottom, so it stays pretty stable. And then there's rubber here, and then this folds out too to hold the monitor in place. So it works pretty well. I would recommend getting the stand. So in terms of interface, you obviously have the pen, and then you've got 6 custom function buttons here, and then you have a track bar that you can, and then there's a function button down here that will scroll through the different functions of the track bar. So you can make it zoom, and you can make it adjust the brush size. So if you can see that right there, okay, that looks like a brush. Oh yeah, okay, so now you can see. Make that really big. And then lastly, you can make it scroll. And then you can program these in the software. So it comes with, you download the drivers, which has a software installed as well. Let me get that on the screen, I guess. Okay, so there's the software for it. So you can assign your keys here. You can adjust the settings on the pen. So it's got 2 buttons on here too. So you can program those to be whatever you want. You can change the pressure sensitivity. It's kind of on like a kind of a curve. It's interesting. Pressure test. You can adjust the work area of the display itself. So that you can actually make this display cover like different monitors. And that's pretty much it. There's lots of different settings in here that you can mess around with. What did I get it for? A long time ago, before I even got into film, I was in art. I mean, I kind of wanted to be an artist. That's what I went to school for originally. I was an art major. And so I've always drawn and stuff and painted a little bit here and there throughout my life. And just to make it easier and not have to worry about like all those art supplies and pens and papers and paint and whatnot, just thought, hey, why not try to get into digital art? So this is actually the first tablet I've had. I actually had this, have this Wacom non-display tablet. So this one is just, that doesn't have a display, so whatever you draw on here is actually going to be represented on your monitor. And I've had this for quite a while, and it works really well. But I always just thought I might want to get one of these display ones just to make it seem more natural to draw on. So you're actually looking at what you're drawing on instead of having the surface you're drawing on here and then having whatever you're drawing up on the monitor. Oh, I'm probably making the mic make noises. So that's one reason I got it. And the other reason I thought it could be helpful for doing film-related stuff. So like mood boards, I had been working on a short film project for a while. And so like mood boards, if you're not familiar with that concept, it's like basically when you're conceptualizing a project, whether it's a film or maybe a music video or a commercial, a lot of times it's very helpful to get kind of like a visual, like ideas about how you want the film or the project to look. So you can pull a lot of reference images and so just to show people like who are working on the project with you, kind of what your vision is for it. And so I pulled like some film images from stuff that I'd seen that kind of like that fit well with the project that I'm imagining. And You can pull, with using the color picker, you can pull different colors, from the still images and kind of get these like color swatches. And you can make notes on here, et cetera. So I just thought it'd be kind of an easy way to do a mood board. And that way you can, save it out to a PDF and then just share it and just have it in like a digital form that you can just email to people or have on a tablet or something on set, or just share however you want to do it. And then another way that I found these tablets to be helpful is when you're storyboarding. So there's a cool program that's available for free called Storyboarder that I've used in the past to do storyboards for short films. It's cool because you can actually import the script, the screenplay directly into the program, so you can see like the scene descriptions and whatnot while you're drawing the actual scene or the shot. So yeah, it's pretty useful for that. So those are like really the two main things that I thought would be productive for me in terms of like actually doing like film projects. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it for this channel, because we mostly do talk about like doing video and film type stuff. There's really nothing about this that I don't like. It works really well, and I don't really have any complaints about it. I don't have any issues with like the line pressure or any sort of like kind of inconsistencies. It seems to be really accurate and works fine. I mean, it really is, it's pretty amazing how close these things are to actually drawing on paper. The only complaint that I have about it, and it's not about this product in particular, it's just the fact that I think it's too small for me. A 15.6-inch display is a pretty nice size, but you have to take into account, I guess I just hit that, all of the interface of the actual program that you're using. So Photoshop is obviously taking up quite a bit of real estate here, and even the fucking taskbar. I guess you can get rid of that, and you can, obviously different programs allow you to change the interface to a degree and get rid of things on screen, but you're still going to be there's still going to be something there. So I found that this workspace to be a little bit cramped. And obviously you can zoom in and make the canvas bigger. You can make the canvas horizontal, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot you can do, but still you're really working in this space here. And some people might not have an issue with that. A lot of people might like to work small, but I've always been the kind of person, like for my technique, if you can call it that, I'm not really a really great artist by any stretch of the imagination. I like to work a bigger and then kind of refine down. So when I start out, like it really often starts big, and then I just have a hard time like getting, like when I do like figure drawings and stuff, I always tend to make it too big. And that's just, that's me, that's my preference. So if I were to, I don't think I'm going to keep this because I just really haven't used it as much, and I don't really want to spend, just throw that money away on something that I'm not going to use a lot. But if I were going forward, if I wanted to get one of these in the future, I think I would go with the 22-inch model. I thought this would be a kind of a good trade-off between kind of a big monitor, but also not taking up way too much space, because I already have a bunch of shit on my desk, as you can see. And that's also the reason that I thought it would be helpful to get one of these, because this thing is just it's just really hard to make space for it. But on the other hand, I really do like the size of this. It's much more workable for me. Am I even on camera? But once again, that's just preference. So if you're in the market for one of these things, I would totally recommend this Huion. And you can skip the Wacom versions unless you really want the super high-end 4K displays. But I would only totally recommend a 4K display if you're going bigger. At 15.6 inches, 1080p is plenty of resolution. You're not going to see a lot of pixels until you zoom in a lot. But even 4K, once you're going to see pixels eventually. But I would say at this resolution, the pixels per inch at 1080p is plenty. So even like I wouldn't recommend going Wacom 4K unless you're going like 22 inches. That's just my recommendation. But this is a really awesome product. It's super slim. Like it's pretty much flat like a tablet. It's plasticky and metal, a little bit of metal here and there, some rubber, but it's solid. It doesn't flex at all. It doesn't really get that hot either, so if you have it in your lap, it's not going to be uncomfortable. It's not like anywhere near like a laptop would get. So if you want one of these, then I have no problem recommending this one. Just for me, the size is just a little bit hard to work with. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of this thing and what it's all about and what I thought I might use it for. And the fact that I'm not going to keep it isn't really a knock on it. It's just the fact that I really can't work it into my life right now as much as I thought I would like to. So anyway, hope that was helpful or interesting in some way for you guys. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any interest in this kind of stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you in another video.